My father built a homestay in our hometown mountains. Guests staying there had to follow 3 rules. First, they had to be introduced by an acquaintance. Second, no talismans or amulets were allowed. Third, no female guests were permitted. I thought these bizarre demands would drive the homestay to ruin, but to my surprise, it was incredibly popular. Even with room prices tens of times higher than the market rate, there was never a vacancy. I couldn't fathom what enchantment the Crimson House held, making everyone who stayed there remember it forever. It wasn't until I secretly followed my father into the mountains that I discovered the Crimson House harbored dozens of girls, beautiful as goddesses, of every conceivable type. But was that truly the only secret of the Crimson House? Since unearthing that secret, despite my attempts to hide it, I couldn't suppress the disgust I felt whenever I looked at my father. The scene from that night replayed in my mind, scantily clad girls entwined around him. A homestay? This was clearly a brothel, or something far worse. What was my father's role there? Was he merely a pimp, or something more sinister? Any one of those girls possessed beauty and charisma that rivaled any celebrity. Connecting this with the Crimson House's 3 rules, especially the last one forbidding female guests, I couldn't help but fall into disturbing thoughts. Perhaps this was the true reason guests remembered the Crimson House so vividly. But I was utterly unaware that night of the pair of blazing red eyes that watched me until I left. That evening, my father returned very late, sneaking into my room. I wondered if it was an illusion, but his body carried a faint scent, like incense from a temple. Breathing in that scent, I drifted into a deep sleep. My father emerged from the shadows like a demon, stroking my hair with an expression that was both pitying and malevolent. "Willow, don't blame your father for being cruel. You only saw what you shouldn't have." He cut a lock of my hair and drew a vial of blood from my arm. The next morning, I looked at my face in the mirror, rosy cheeks, delicate, willow-shaped brows. Was this still me? Could my appearance have changed so astonishingly after just one night? The whirring of a helicopter faded from the rooftop. My father was gone. Downstairs, not a soul. The air still carried that faint, temple-like scent. I collapsed onto a chair, utterly exhausted after just a few steps. My throat was dry when the phone rang. It was my father. I hesitated but answered. "Willow, I'm in the city. Do you need anything?" "No, thank you, father." "Then stay home tonight. I'll be back early for dinner with you." Hanging up, an unsettling feeling washed over me. He often went to the city, but he'd never asked if I needed anything. And why did he specifically tell me to stay home? Such unusual behavior could only mean something sinister was afoot. I shouldn't doubt my father, yet this unease clung to me relentlessly. I intended to go to the yard, but the door was locked from the outside. My father's words made my eyelid twitch uncontrollably. A twitching right eye was always a bad omen. For me, this was a warning. Since childhood, every time it happened, something ill-fated followed. Beneath the sofa, a red light flickered from the floorboards. I bent down to look but saw nothing. Pushing the chair aside, I found a floorboard with a wider gap. Tapping it produced a hollow sound. I tried to pry it open with a screwdriver, but it was futile. I continued searching for a switch or a remote. From morning till evening, I found nothing. My body was drenched in sweat. Strangely, my sweat smelled of lilies, my mother's favorite flower. Its meaning, dangerous joy. I tried to search my father's room, but that door was also locked. The scent grew stronger, and my body felt increasingly weak. The more this happened, the more my suspicion towards my father grew. The windows were open, but covered with iron bars. Escaping from here would be incredibly difficult. "Willow, let's go shopping tomorrow. Celebrate Mindau's university acceptance." A message from my best friend, Amber. I suddenly remembered the story of her cousin who was transgender and how a monk allegedly used them to create a deer antler grass elixir of resurrection. The internet was full of conspiracy theories, but Amber had told me the true version. It was a story beyond scientific explanation. Oracle Kaya, whom Amber mentioned. Should I contact her? I called and explained the situation. "Willow, are you just overthinking it? Nothing truly strange has happened yet." "Perhaps, but you know, since I was a child, a twitching right eye has always meant trouble, even when my mother died 10 years ago." But is calling the police a good idea?" "Amber, if I call the police on my father, my life will be over. I'm about to take my civil service exam. If my father is arrested, what will be left of my life but ashes?" Amber fell silent. I didn't know what to say either. After all, I was selfish. I had lived in luxury since childhood, only now realizing how tainted that money was. I couldn't bear to leave my lavish life, yet I was disgusted by my father. Perhaps the saying, "a horse pretending to be noble," was tailor-made for people like me, who cling to dirty wealth while feigning moral superiority. I'll send you Oracle Kaya's number. If anything unusual happens, contact her. Even if it's nothing, it's fine to ask her. She's very kind. Amber immediately sent the number. I saved it on my phone, but still uneasy, copied it onto a piece of paper and hid it in my pocket. I sat waiting for my father to return, preparing to confront him. It was past midnight and my father still wasn't home. I waited until I was utterly exhausted and drifted off. In a dream, or perhaps a hallucination, I saw my mother. Her body was covered in wounds and she looked at me with immense pain. "Willow, run, your father will kill you." My mother looked towards the door, shrieked in terror, and vanished. Beneath the sofa, the red light flickered like a warning beacon. "Mother, don't go," I gasped awake, just as my father opened the door and walked in. "Willow, why are you sleeping here, my child?" "Father, why did you lock the door? I couldn't get out all day." As I spoke, his eyes darkened and he glanced down at the sofa. My heart pounded. Indeed, nothing was normal. "I locked the door. It must have been by accident. I was in such a hurry this morning. I'm sorry, my dear." "It's all right. Have you had dinner yet? I bought you your favorite bubble tea." "Thank you, Father. It's late. Let's go to bed." I knew it was pointless to ask further. I understood my father, just as he understood me. My father handed me the bubble tea. A cold dread ran down my spine as I took it. "It's late. I don't want anything cold." Cold, I kept it warm inside my jacket on the way back. He handed it to me again. This time, the cup was indeed warm, but it had been freezing cold just moments ago. This bubble tea was problematic. "I'll drink it later, Father. You should go to bed." "I want to watch you drink it." He wouldn't leave, smiling affectionately, but his eyes held an icy coldness. "Be a good girl, drink it, my child." He stroked my head. At that moment, my mind felt blank like a puppet's. I could only obey, drinking the cup dry. A voice in my head screamed not to listen to my father, but my limbs refused to obey. Waking up the next morning, sunlight streamed into the room. My mind felt hazy, my body soft, my steps like walking on clouds. Yet the face in the mirror was rosy, my skin smooth and fair. I had never looked so beautiful. Downstairs, the door was still locked, my father was gone, and my phone had disappeared. "Where?" I searched the cabinet for my old phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked and had many photos. However, it had no SIM card, no network, no way to contact anyone. Fortunately, my tablet had a data SIM. I immediately put it into my old phone, frantically dialing Grandmother Kaya's number. "Hello, Oracle Kaya speaking. Who is this?" It was a girl's voice. I told her everything. The Crimson House, dozens of beautiful girls. "Yes, that's right. I'll text you a spell. Recite it beneath the floorboard, hide there, and wait for Jax to pick you up. Don't come out." "Am I in danger?" "You are already in danger. Try touching your chest, see if your heart is still beating." My hair stood on end. I placed my hand on my chest. I couldn't feel a heartbeat. Am I still human? How can I be alive without a heart? What do I do now? "Don't overthink it. Just do as I say. Jax will arrive soon." I hung up and received a message. "East rises, west sets, humanity vanishes with the moon, life and death cycle, ancient spell awakens dormant curse. Obey the old power, open now, gate of death." It also said, "Prick your fingertip if your blood is green, drip 3 drops onto the floorboard." Despite my doubts about the spell, I found myself automatically reciting it. A red light flashed. I quickly pricked my fingertip, and indeed my blood was green. I immediately dripped 3 drops onto the floor. The green blood seeped in, spreading like roots, forming the image of a lily. Suddenly, the floorboard vanished, revealing a staircase leading down into darkness. I stepped down one stair, and suddenly my surroundings brightened. I turned around, the entrance was gone, replaced by an abyssal darkness. A fear indescribable by words gripped me. Where did this staircase lead? I didn't know, and I didn't want to know, so I simply sat down as Grandmother Kaya had instructed to just hide. Moving would be fatal. I decided to wait here to be safe. I tried to find a pulse on my wrist, but it was futile. No pulse, no heartbeat, green blood. What was happening? All this just because of a bubble tea last night. Too many mysteries. Half an hour later, I heard footsteps above. Jax had arrived. "Willow, where are you?" It was my father's voice. I clutched my phone, buried my head in my hands, trying to stay calm. That little girl, where are you? I'm warning you, come out if you know what's good for you, don't make me find you. My father ransacked the house, shouting. Tears welled in my eyes. This was the first time my father had ever yelled at me, not since I was a child. The sound of overturning chairs, a door slamming shut. Had he left? I let out a shaky breath, looking up. My heart was pounding erratically. My mother, just like in last night's dream, stood before me, her body covered in wounds. Mother Willow, why didn't you run? My mother wept tears of blood. You can't escape. Mother, what's happening? Didn't you die in an accident? Why are you here? Are you human or a ghost now? Your father turned me into an enchanting fragrance elixir. That bastard once promised he wouldn't touch you, but now he's broken his word, resorting to such brutal cruelty. Oh, my poor daughter, my poor Willow. Beside my ear, an ear-splitting, ghostly wail echoed. Seeing my mother's ashen face, I knew the being before me was no longer the living woman she once was. Willow Thorne, I'm Jax, come out. I looked back at the floorboards, the man's voice echoing from above. Jax arrived faster than I expected, but when I turned back, my mother was gone. How could I get out? Good heavens, this is exhausting, just move aside a bit. I stepped down a few more stairs, away from the entrance. With a crash, the entrance reappeared, and the man named Jax descended. My grandmother told me to give you this talisman. Place it on your chest. Oracle Kaya's grandmother. I pushed aside my doubts, took the yellow talisman, and turned to place it inside my bra, precisely over my heart. With this talisman, I can temporarily get you out of here. Otherwise, the moment you step out, your father will seize you. This talisman can mask your scent and temporarily preserve your life. As he finished speaking, Jax's hand, like an iron vice, clamped onto my arm and pulled me away. Wait, I just saw my mother. She died 10 years ago. Why is her ghost still here? Don't the dead reincarnate? Worry about yourself first. Your mother has been here for 10 years. A few more days won't make a difference. Come with me, let's get out of here quickly. Another minute in this house and my head will explode. This time, I had no chance to react. Jax practically dragged me out of the house. Strangely, once outside, the lily scent on me vanished and the feeling of weakness disappeared. Is there something wrong with my house? I asked anxiously from the passenger seat of Jax's car, looking back to see the house shrouded in thick black smoke. Your house has a big problem. It's been a haunted house for hundreds of years. Very scary. A haunted house? Hundreds of years? I didn't understand what he was saying. The Crimson House was deep in the forest. My house was at the foot of the mountain, built at the same time as the Crimson House, just over 2 years ago. Yet Jax said hundreds of years. His words seemed utterly illogical to me. I don't have time to explain now. You'll know everything later. First, we need to shake off this tale. The mountain road was treacherous. Jax sped up to 130 km/h, branches and wild grass whipping against the car's body. I looked back and instantly flinched. A colossal, red-eyed monster was giving chase as large as a truck. It wasn't cat-like. Looking closer, it had no legs, its body like a worm, moving incredibly fast. Each time it almost caught up, Jax sped away. What on earth is that? A monster bred by the Thorne family. Why are you asking me? Did it detect my escape and chase me? No, it's chasing me because I just chopped off its tail. My fishing rod was short on line. I noticed a bloody, hairy rope, at least 20 to 30 meters long, coiled in the back of the car. When did you do that? How didn't I see it? If you saw me in action, I wouldn't be much of a master, would I? Now be quiet for a moment and sit still. I fell silent, constantly glancing back to see if the monster was still pursuing us. I looked at Jax, a large build, a kind smile, yet his eyes held utter determination, exuding an aura of integrity. Grandma, save me. I've been driving in circles for dozens of rounds. I can't shake this monster, and if we run out of gas, Willow Thorne and I are dead meat. Just moments ago, he was so imposing, and now he was video calling for help. But I realized we truly had been driving in circles, unable to escape this road. Serves you right, you rascal. A lesson for you daring to meddle with everything. Grandmother Kaya took out a gourd from which a golden mist emanated, spreading throughout the car. Jax turned off the engine. The monster zoomed past in front of us. I started to speak, but he gestured for silence. A few minutes later, the monster returned, sniffing frantically but unable to find us. Half an hour later, it roared and left, sounding incredibly angry. Jax let out a sigh of relief, started the car, and drove off. This time, we had escaped. What was that just now? Just invisibility, nothing strange. Invisibility isn't surprising. As people of the 21st century, who has ever seen invisibility magic? Where are we going now? To find the crystal coffin maker. Why find him? The crystal coffin is an intermediary object connecting past and present, a portal, in short. A portal? Who's using a portal? My head was spinning, too many things beyond my comprehension. Your father had so many beautiful girls in the Crimson House. Weren't you curious where they came from? You mean they all came through portals? That's my guess for now. The details will only become clear once we find the crystal coffin maker. I fell silent, speechless. Too much information to process. In Jax's car, there was a crystal orb. A figurine inside pointed in a direction, and he drove wherever it indicated. I found it both childish and miraculous, and decided to broaden my horizons. This is a treasure from the ghostly peaks. Have you seen Pirates of the Caribbean? The orb was inspired by Captain Jack's compass. Cool, right? Very cool. So you found me thanks to it. Of course, I just think about where you are, and it shows me the way. This magical object made me wonder who Jax and grandmother Kaya truly were. Was this world still the scientific Earth I knew? The car stopped before the entrance to the Thatch NHU Cave tourist area. Jax parked, then took the orb and led me on foot. It was dark, and the figurine's finger glowed, lighting our way. We bought tickets for the cave and stopped at an undeveloped side path. It was pitch black inside. Are you sure we're going in? I'm afraid I have nyctophobia. Go now, the guard had just passed. Jax pulled me, plunging into the darkness. Oh, seriously, I hadn't even mentally prepared. I almost dislocated my neck. Without a light, Jax seemed to see everything clearly, dragging me until my legs felt numb before he stopped. We're here. As he finished speaking, the surroundings burst into light. I covered my eyes, slowly adjusting, to see the cave walls filled with luminous jewels and a gaunt old man sitting ahead, his eyes clouded. Seeing us, he was both surprised and resigned. I knew I couldn't escape. My transgressions are countless, so I knew this day would come. Why did I even create that crystal coffin back then? You succeeded, yes, but what good did it do? It helped no one. Instead, it implicated countless innocent people. Long ago, I only wanted to repay a debt. I spent half my lifespan creating the crystal coffin, just so Master Kai could return to the past, meet his wife, and change a tragedy. He promised to destroy the ancient coffin once his task was done, but he reneged. Then why didn't you destroy it yourself? Master Kai anticipated my intentions early on. He conspired with a demon priest to defile the coffin, establishing barriers. I couldn't destroy it, nor could I even approach it anymore. That was 300 years ago. Don't you have any other way? Look at me now, karma's truth. I'm dying. I probably won't see tomorrow's sun once I leave this cave. All my arduous cultivation, ruined by the Thorne family. How do we destroy the crystal coffin? The spirit-releasing orb requires a spirit user. Only a Thorne can destroy it. Someone with the pure Yang birth chart to stop unfortunate girls from being abducted. A Thorne with a pure Yang birth chart. Jax recited my birth chart. Given all that had happened, I was no longer curious how he knew. So, I'm the one with the pure Yang birth chart. A pang of sorrow hit me. Jax looked at me intently. I understood his meaning. Perhaps fate had already been sealed. The outcome of this task? Jax's sorrowful gaze spoke volumes. But what other choice did I have? If I didn't do it, my father wouldn't spare me. Even if I succeeded, I might not live. I could only do my best and surrender to fate. Willow Thorne, remember that good people are always rewarded, and the wicked will face retribution, Jax advised. On the way back, it rained heavily. The car still sped, but I no longer felt fear. Suddenly, I felt a strange trust in Jax. Jax, was that old man a human or a demon? He was human. He practiced cultivation and possessed virtue. He should have become an immortal. Now, nothing is left. Why was he hiding in a tourist cave? He came there before it was a tourist spot. It was once a sacred place, later exploited. Jax's voice was full of regret. I was just curious. Through the tunnel, lights flickered, and I saw a colossal black shadow hovering. Jax, do you see something? Yes. So it's not an illusion, something is darting around there. Ah, it's an acquaintance. Don't be scared later, your situation is complicated, so grandmother sent reinforcements to help. Suddenly, there was a thud on the car roof, and the entire vehicle lurched downwards. Jax gave an embarrassed, helpless smile. The car exited the tunnel. I looked back to see the tunnel brightly lit, then glanced at the back seat and jumped. How is there a woman there already? Lyra, don't scare her. Grandmother will have words with you. Grandmother Kaya dares to reprimand me? Jax, are you mistaken? Hearing their exchange, I felt a little relieved. They were all acquaintances. I wasn't scared anymore. Little girl, switch places with me. I'm not used to the back seat. Okay. I started to unfasten my seatbelt. The rain was pouring. I intended to crawl into the back seat, but when I looked up, I was already comfortably settled there. Lyra was already in the front seat. Too many supernatural things were happening. Was I even still on Earth? I was dizzy. Lyra turned back, grinning widely, and I shivered uncontrollably. Lyra's tongue, split at the tip, darted out long then retracted. This wasn't a human tongue, it was a snake's tongue. Seeing my face blanch, Lyra turned away, smug. What on earth is this? The rain isn't strong enough. It needs to be heavier. Lyra tilted her head, looking at Jax, her eyes glowing green. Is that enough? The things inside the Crimson House weren't as simple as I thought. Listen to her always, grandmother's orders. I didn't understand what they were talking about, only that the rain outside was getting heavier and heavier, so much so that I couldn't see the road, yet Jax drove even faster. In less than half an hour, we reached the mountain, just 100 meters from the Crimson House. The rain is heavy enough to mask our scent, and also weaken the entity inside the Crimson House a little. Why does it fear rootless water? Rootless water means water without a source. Lyra was so excited that she kept flicking her tongue out, her snake scales shimmering faintly on her face. I'll go in first to deal with it. Once it's done, you two can enter. As she spoke, Lyra revealed her strong, massive snake tail and flew out of the car window. Jax looked stern, his gaze fixed on the Crimson House ahead. Feeling a little scared, I immediately scrambled into the front passenger seat, thinking that being closer to Jax would make me safer. Aren't you going in to help her? If I go in, I'll only hold her back. Lyra is the strongest person from our ghostly peaks. Even grandmother is no match for her. Who are you people exactly, and where is the ghostly peaks? You don't need to know who we are exactly. Just remember my name is Jax, and we are here to help you. As we spoke, the rain grew heavier and heavier. The Crimson House ahead flickered like a red ember, appearing and disappearing. Trying to escape? Never, Jax roared with authority. I thought he was about to unleash a powerful move, but to my surprise, he pulled out his phone and video called Grandmother Kaya. Hello, Grandmother, it's not good. The thing inside the Crimson House wants to escape. Is Lyra unable to hold it back? Why are you panicking? Say no more, I know. I saw a gourd suddenly appear in Grandmother Kaya's hand. She muttered a chant, and the gourd emitted a dazzling golden light that pierced through the phone screen, projecting into the rain. In a flash, the Crimson House became clearly visible through the rain, constantly shifting between larger and smaller sizes. Has this house become a spirit itself? I saw the monster that chased us earlier battling a colossal snake on the roof. Their strength was too uneven. The monster was being utterly thrashed by the giant snake, a pathetic sight. The moment the golden light hit, the monster was swallowed whole by the snake. The colossal snake then transformed back into Lyra's form. She stood on the roof, patting her belly contentedly, even winking at Jax and me. Then I saw Lyra reveal her snake tail again, like a stake, relentlessly pounding against the Crimson House. The Crimson House writhed in agony, trembling, and I even heard a mournful, agonizing scream of a woman. Come here, Lyra's voice resonated as if through a loudspeaker. Jax started the car and drove straight to the Crimson House. As we neared the place, I suddenly felt a profound sadness, a surge of emptiness in my heart, a suffocating sense of inescapable destiny. We're going in now. Stay close to me. Yes, Jax and I pushed the door open and entered one after another. Lyra stood on the roof, guarding us, though I didn't understand what she was so wary of. Inside the door, it was pitch black. Jax pulled out 2 luminous pearls to light the way, just like in the Thatch NHU cave. Heh, I stole these. The old man won't live much longer anyway. Better for me to benefit than for someone else. No confirmation, no comment. Just, why had the Crimson House also turned into a cave? The last time I secretly came here, I remembered it clearly being a 6-story design, with a dining room, a bar, a swimming pool, and many other entertainment facilities. And where were all those beautiful girls? Jax moved straight ahead. I suppressed my questions, sticking close behind him. The air was thick with a scent just like the one in my house. The winding cave stretched endlessly forward. I couldn't see an end. After about 10 minutes of walking, a large, perfectly still lake appeared ahead, its surface without a single ripple. Jax pulled out a stack of yellow talismans from his pocket, chanting continuously. The talismans automatically arranged themselves in a line, like arrows, shooting straight into the center of the lake. In an instant, the water in the lake vanished without a trace. Dense crowds of people appeared one after another in its place. In the blink of an eye, the entire cave was filled with people, with no end in sight. More astonishingly, they were all beautiful young women, each a breathtaking beauty, some gently adorable, some nobly elegant, some ethereal and otherworldly, some graceful and charming. Each possessed a unique, heart-stirring beauty. Seeing me appear, their eyes looked at me as if laced with venom, wanting to rush forward and kill me instantly. Yet they cast fearful glances at Jax, restraining themselves from acting. I am sent by the mountain deity of the ghostly peaks, Grandmother Kaya, to save you. Everyone, don't be afraid. Really, but you're with the Thorne family. The girl at the front, Celeste, had a strong, spirited face. She looked overjoyed but also deeply wary. Willow Thorne, though she is a thorn, she is different. To save you from this place, her help is indispensable. The Thorne family has caused us so much suffering. I've been imprisoned here for 300 years. I can't return to my old world, nor can I reincarnate as a human, Celeste said, sobbing uncontrollably. She wept, and the entire crowd began to cry with her. A thunderous wailing, filled with eerie sounds, filled the air. The Thorne family, generation after generation, passed down the crystal coffin, using it to abduct beautiful girls like us from different time-spaces. They secretly built crimson houses everywhere and made us drink the enchanting fragrance elixir long-term. After drinking the enchanting fragrance elixir, we would obey the Thorne family. Our bodies also became more alluring. No man who came to the Crimson House ever forgot our bodies, but prolonged consumption of the enchanting fragrance elixir shortened our lifespans. None of us lived past 26. Death was a release. But after we died, the Thorne family sacrificed us to evil spirits and demons. The best outcome was to become a ghost and continue serving men. Those sisters who were slightly disobedient were fed to the malevolent creatures, and these evil spirits and demons, having received favors from the Thorne family, continued to aid them in their wicked deeds. Through these time-space portals, more and more sisters became victims, mere tools for the Thorne family's generational accumulation of wealth. Hearing this, my heart trembled. I opened my mouth to speak, yet felt any words would be meaningless. Willow Thorne, right? Yes. Do you know how many men I served when I was alive? I shook my head. 1,321. Haha, don't you know all of you Thorns deserve to go to hell? I was originally a noble lady from a duke's mansion, with loving parents, and even a crown prince who wholeheartedly wished to marry me. But I was forced through a portal to this place. Imprisoned in the Crimson House, becoming a concubine to countless filthy men. How could I not hate? I remembered the multi-million-dollar handbags I bought, the $100 million villa in the city, the luxury cars worth hundreds of millions. All these things were bought with the lives of these girls. If I don't die, who will? If the Thorne family doesn't go to hell, who will? Jax, destroying the crystal coffin, can only stop them from abducting more people from other time spaces, right? Yes, but this is the first thing we must do. Jax saw death-defying resolve in my eyes. My conscience was fully awakened now. I shouldn't be selfish anymore, nor could I simply believe this was solely the fault of my ancestors. The blood of the Thorne family flowed within me. I could not escape this immense responsibility. Jax handed me the crystal orb. Next, it's up to you. Do you remember what I told you? Whatever you think of, it will lead you to it. I took the crystal orb. The figurine inside spun once. I closed my eyes, replaying all the events of the past 2 days in my mind like a film. In the end, only 3 words remained: crystal coffin. The figurine's finger slowly rose, pointing in the direction Jax and I had come from. I followed, Jax accompanying me. The crowd behind us knelt, begging for the compassionate girl to save them from their suffering. "Yes," I whispered. I held back my tears and walked, the conviction in my heart growing even stronger. The figurine led us down the mountain, stopping before my own house. The figurine's finger lowered, as if telling me we had arrived. I looked at Jax in doubt. He scratched his head awkwardly, then smiled and pulled out his phone. He was preparing to video call Grandmother Kaya again. "Don't you know the spell for manifestation?" Grandmother Kaya asked, chewing on sunflower seeds, her face annoyed. "Oh, right, I'll try," Jack said, then sat cross-legged on the ground, making hand seals and muttering a chant. My house shook as if an earthquake had struck. Bricks and tiles fell, turning into wisps of green smoke upon hitting the ground. As the walls collapsed, a thick plume of smoke dispersed, revealing a coffin, entirely black, before me. "Didn't you say it was a crystal coffin? Why doesn't it look like I imagined?" "Good heavens, your family used this crystal coffin for so many wicked deeds that even the object itself has suffered retribution. With this color, if I hadn't known beforehand, it would be hard to believe this was the crystal coffin I was looking for." The crystal coffin constantly seeped black vapor. Jack said this was lustful chi and warned me not to touch it. "Where's my mother? The house is gone, but I saw her ghost inside before." "Your mother isn't the only wronged spirit sealed in this coffin." The video call with Grandmother Kaya was still ongoing. She sat within a massive spell formation, a golden gourd hovering above her head, its sparkling light projected from the phone, enveloping the crystal coffin. I watched as the black vapor from the coffin instantly swelled into a growing vortex, then was sucked into the gourd on the phone screen. When the last wisp of black vapor vanished, the crystal coffin restored its transparent, glittering appearance. Grandmother Kaya continued to chant, and the gourd above her head swelled several times its size. I saw the lid of the crystal coffin open automatically. Out stepped women, all unfamiliar to me, yet I felt they were very much like me. Without exception, these women resembled my mother that night, their bodies covered in wounds, their faces ashen and chilling. These women lined up and stepped into the gourd on the phone screen. Dozens of them, old and young alike. At the very end of the line were my mother and my paternal grandmother. "Mother, grandmother," I couldn't help but cry out. "Willow, my dear child, we have to go now. I'm sorry, my love, I couldn't protect you." I reached out to grasp my mother, but couldn't even touch the hem of her clothes. She had already entered the gourd. The golden light retracted, and the gourd's lid closed, resting neatly in Grandmother Kaya's hand. "What about my mother?" Grandmother just recited the reincarnation spell. "Don't worry, they have all gone to be reborn as humans." "So all those people were my ancestors?" "Mostly yes, but not entirely. There were outsiders too, but without exception, they all possessed the suitable fate for cultivating the enchanting fragrance elixir. Outsiders weren't as effective as those from the Thorne family, and the enchanting fragrance elixir was always cultivated from women. Jax, I can't believe such madness truly happened, and to me of all people. There are many strange things in this world. People's hearts turn dark for money. This is called greed consuming the soul. So what did you mean earlier when you said I lost my heart? If I'm not mistaken, your father also cut your hair and took your blood. These are conduits. With these two, he could use dark magic to extract your essence. The enchanting fragrance elixir cultivated from the flesh of the living is more potent." At this moment, I felt an unbearable pang of pain. This was the father who had loved me since I was a child. I desperately wanted to know where he was now. As I thought this, the figurine's finger in the crystal orb rose, pointing directly at the crystal coffin before us. "What are you thinking about now?" "My father." Jax immediately tensed, like a tiger stalking its prey, staring intently at the crystal coffin. "Will Thorne, quickly, apply your blood to the crystal coffin?" Grandmother Kaya urged me frantically through the screen. Jax pulled my hand, making a quick cut on my palm and wrist. Blood flowed like a stream, but this time my blood was green. Jax said, "When someone is invaded by dark magic, their blood can be any color." I hurried to let my blood flow onto the coffin, but it formed floating droplets in the air, refusing to seep down. "Jax, Mount Tai pressing down. Luck arrives, all right," Grandmother Kaya continued to command. Jax immediately hoisted me up, head inverted towards the ground, and I felt all the blood in my body rush to my head. From the screen, Grandmother Kaya released a handful of golden talismans, which transformed into lilies and fell onto the coffin. Jax freed one hand and used a knife to make a cut on the crown of my head. I saw milky white blood stream down my hair onto the coffin. The blood, like nerve fibers, quickly spread across the coffin, and wherever it touched, lilies bloomed. Only when my vision blurred did Jax set me down. The coffin was now covered in blooming lilies, and small cracks had appeared in several places. "What's wrong? Is it not working?" I asked impatiently. "Blood alone isn't enough." Jax looked at me, a hint of awkwardness in his eyes. "Then what's needed?" Jax remained silent, looking to Grandmother Kaya for help. "The choice is willow thorns, Jax. You know, we cannot interfere with the affairs of the living." As they spoke, the lid of the crystal coffin automatically opened. I stepped closer. Inside, it was surging with molten lava. I thought I knew what I had to do. Without hesitation, I plunged straight in. Jax's astonished shout echoed in my ears. Following my leap, the crystal coffin exploded with a thunderous crash. My father and a man dressed like a monk tumbled out. Jax immediately apprehended my father. But that wretched monk had escaped. 3 days later, the news reported a monk swallowed whole by a colossal snake that fell from the sky in a park. Authorities searched everywhere, but found no trace of the snake. The case became an unsolved mystery. When the crystal coffin was destroyed, all the girls from the Crimson House were guided by Grandmother Kaya to reincarnate. Medical staff in maternity wards gossiped that during that period, an unusual number of baby girls were born, all stunningly beautiful. Later, Jax told me that my father and the monk had used the crystal coffin to travel through time to other dynasties, intending to hide for a while and then return. They thought no one in this world knew how to destroy the coffin, but they unexpectedly encountered true masters. When the crystal coffin was destroyed, the Crimson House, its byproduct, also collapsed in an instant. All the girls were freed from their captivity. The first thing they did after escaping their shackles was to settle scores with my father. Ultimately, my father was not only torn to shreds, body and soul, but his spirit was utterly annihilated, unable to even reincarnate again. The monk was not actually human, but an ancient demon spirit that fed on women's souls, having existed for hundreds of years. Through generations of Thorne family masters, this cunning strategist of a monk had never changed. He was greedy and lustful, having harmed countless girls. That day, upon his escape, he encountered Lyra. Surprisingly, he was a formidable fighter. Lyra was even wounded. Grandmother Kaya then intervened, wounding the demon monk, but ultimately he still managed to escape. He was very intelligent. Over hundreds of years, he built temples and shrines everywhere, sculpting golden statues of himself, proclaiming himself a living Buddha, receiving incense and offerings from people to increase his demonic power. Even my father worshipped him daily. Over time, he became tainted, carrying the demon monk's incense scent on his person. The monk's actions, however, grew increasingly cruel and ruthless. As for me, after the crystal coffin was destroyed, Grandmother Kaya took my soul with her. Originally, my soul was incomplete, unable to enter the cycle of reincarnation, destined to be reborn as an animal. But before reincarnation, the girls collectively signed a myriad pledge accord, choosing to forgive me. They hoped I would achieve a good outcome, just like them. The girls who had died were all liberated. As for those who had just come through portals and hadn't yet died, Grandmother Kaya gave them a restoration elixir, which not only helped their bodies recover to their former state, but also erased these cruel memories. I sacrificed myself by jumping into the coffin to save them. Jax said, "You accumulated merit. Grandmother Kaya will help mend your shattered soul, and you can continue to reincarnate as a human." I still didn't truly know who Grandmother Kaya and Jax were, but it seemed Grandmother Kaya rarely left her geomancy shop. Even when she did, she didn't venture far from the city. She often directed Jax's tasks via phone. After that, I worked odd jobs in Grandmother Kaya's geomancy shop for over a year before she finally guided me into reincarnation. As Jax had said, Grandmother Kaya liked me. By staying with her a little longer, I might be lucky enough to find a good family in this next reincarnation. In that year, I heard many stories about Grandmother Kaya from the ghostly peaks, which captivated me so much I didn't want to reincarnate. But no feast lasts forever. If only I could hear more stories.